And those kind of things, little by little, is what we try to do. We try to implement as many programs that we can like that. And also, whenever you create something that the people care about, like when we create programs that keep kids off the street and keep them safe, and the parents don't have to worry about it, that creates an automatic sense of love between us and our community itself, right? So that means that when the time comes and confrontation happens, which it will happen inevitably with what we're talking about, the community will support us. We won't be seen as outside forces trying to be agitators in the community. We're seen as people that fight for the interests of the people, you know, and they will side with us and defend our interests, which is their interest. Another important part of autonomy that we always want to bring up is that autonomy is a very indigenous idea. It's an idea that comes from the way that tribes used to relate with each other and things like that back in the times before Columbus. And basically, we stress indigenism heavily in the Brown Berets, whether it's indigenism for our Native American ancestors or for the ancestors in the Pacific Islands or the ancestors in Africa or anywhere. We believe that in order for us to really self-actualize as a people and to understand where we are as a community, wherever your background is, you have to have a deep connection with your culture and where you come from. And that's also a very spiritual idea to us. That's something we really like to bring in. And it's not a spirituality as in like, oh God, or this or that, or anything like that. It's not about religion. It's about the connection to those that came before us. It's about the connection to those with us right now, the connections that we build together as a community. And those kind of connections make it so that the politics isn't so cold, so that the revolution is about love and it's about strength and it's about working together. It's not really such a, I would say, numbers thing, or it's not really such a cold, theoretical, systemic process, you know. The revolution has to be as alive and as vibrant as the people that it's supposed to be helping. So one of our main things, of course, is the Unaku, is a symbol of our indigenism. It's part of our main symbol in the organization, which is basically, you know, the center of everything. It's a I guess we could say it's like a Mayan yin and yang, right? It's a symbol of duality, two things coming together as one, multiple things. And it's a symbol of duality, right? I think Marxists would understand me when I say duality. I mean, you know, dialectical materialism. Put it. All right. So with that, bringing up dialectical materialism, right? And I said, oh damn, this one knows about Marxism, huh? As a matter of fact, yes. We in the Brown Berets take from a lot of different tendencies. And the reason being is that we don't see the issues of race, class, or gender as different levels, right? So we don't see that the class struggle is the first struggle, but then inside that struggle is the race struggle and the gender struggle, right? We see all of those struggles as intersecting struggles. The reason being is that we truly have a both-and ideology, right? So we can all be oppressed in one way, as we all are, right, as workers under capitalism. But some of us are oppressors in other ways, right? As in white supremacy and brown people, right? And not only that, as males, you know, and female, right? There's many varying levels of domination that we have to deal with, that we can't ignore. And that's something we always strive to bring out. In the Brown Berets, we can't say that we're only a race organization. We can't, because we cannot separate our race struggle from the class struggle. We can't separate the class struggle from the struggle for feminism and the struggle for women's rights, for gay liberation. We cannot separate race from gender, which was a big problem in our organization back in the day. So we stem from an ideological starting point of feminist, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-racist, right? So we don't like fitting ourselves into any single category. So when it comes to classism, we truly see that we need to move past capitalism as a human society. You know, in the Brown Berets, we understand the means of production are being controlled by our class enemy, which is the capitalist class. And they're the ones that decide the way that the rest of humanity lives and how the goods are distributed. We believe in an equal distribution of all the means of production so that everyone has a fair shot in this life. So that means that we do study very heavily the ideas of a bunch of different medicals, a bunch of different methods. We believe in, and we've stated before, we do believe in an independent working class political party that hopefully one day will arise. We believe in the fact that all workers, you know, every person should have a job, you know. But when it comes to those class things, like I want to start wrapping it up. But like I was saying, when it comes to class things, we also understand, and we want to make it clear whenever we speak about race, is that the problem with the class struggle hasn't been the problem of how to deal with people of color. It's been the problem of how do we get rid of white racism in the workplace? How can we start getting rid of those white supremacist ideas which are ingrained in the way that we live, in the way that we grow? And those are ideas that won't disappear just because we start talking about, oh yeah, we need to get together and work together, right? So Eurocentricity and things like that, and the way that we work together, and the way that we speak, and the way that we live together, and the way that we view the world has to be questioned. And start seeing the struggle for workers' rights is how do we deal with this problem of whiteness? How do we deal with the problem of, you know, it's always, because people of color have always been, and this is my critique of everyday leftist politics.